What's up, guys? I'm Fish, and today I'm going to be continuing my Humanity Restarts series. So, as if you look at the map, you may notice that it looks different from how it ended in the last episode. This is because I already recorded this video, but the audio didn't work. So instead, I'm going to be um, re-recording the major event um, that happened in this video. Um, So I made a post about how the recording didn't work for this episode. I'm not sure how many of you guys saw it. Basically, I said like the audio didn't work. I couldn't re-record it because like I already updated the map. There was one major event that happened in this video that I managed to like undo all of the effects by just recoloring the map. So the major event that I couldn't possibly skip over is the conflict between the yellow team and the green team, lime team. Um, okay, so before that starts, though, I am actually going to go over everything else that happened. There was a bit of expansion, like the orange state over here expanded across the Persian Gulf. There's two new states over here. Bangladesh expanded, India expanded, lime team expanded a bit over here. Turkey's expanding a lot into Europe. There's four new states up here. These two were made from people that came from Turkey, and these two just like formed in the same way that Bangladesh did, like separate from the rest. These two countries are going to absolutely hate each other throughout their entire history. Um, Also, something that wasn't in the original recording, but I wanted to point out is I made a religion map. Um, so obviously, those four starting countries, those being the lime team, red team, yellow team, and blue team, they all have their own respective religion. The magenta team has a religion that's almost extinct over here. There's another religion that's slowly formed over time up here in what used to be the red team that is separate from every other nation. Um, Ethiopia and the other red country down here, they share a religion. Um, Turkey has their own religion that is quickly spreading. The light blue team shares the red team's religion. And every country over here in India has their own religion. These two have their own religion as well, so that's also going to be part of the reason for them hating each other. This religion map can play part in conflict starting, stuff like that. It can also influence peace treaties. Um, so yeah, now we have that. Okay, so let's get into the conflict. So the way it started, the Lime team started expanding into Iran. The Yellow team didn't like that. And the Lime team was also constructing a lot of new major cities. So there's a lot more now, you may have noticed. So to prevent the Lime team getting too strong, the Yellow team is going to declare the long-awaited conflict between the Egyptians and the Mesopotamians. The conflict is going to start with the Egyptian forces pushing into these lands um, and attempting to surround this major city. They're also going to make an effort to push up north towards this city and encircle it. Both of these um, invasions are going to be successful for the simple reason that the Lime team wasn't prepared for this. They didn't think the Egyptians would go on the offensive. They thought they were safe. They were not. Forces that were stationed in this city are going to push up and start taking desert. Um, so they're gonna pretty easily take all this because literally nobody was protecting this. Like there were like a few people stationed over here and up here simply for the unlikely scenario that there was war, but the Lime team just didn't have barely had anybody there because they didn't think Egypt would actually go for it. So after a few short weeks of protecting both of these cities, they're going to eventually be starved out and captured by team forces are going to begin to make their way towards the Egyptians. By the time they get there, a lot more land has been captured up here, and up here, this city has been encircled. By the time the Lime team gets there, they immediately take back this city and cut off this group of Egyptians up here. Just fixing something. Okay. So this group of Egyptians, knowing that they're like the Lime team's army is approaching, they're going to attempt to flee up this river, and they're going to start marching towards the border of the Red team. Lime team is going to follow them. We're going to take back all of this, manage to kill a few soldiers, and chase after the ones that are attempting to flee. But once these soldiers manage to reach the Red team welcomes them in open arms simply because they hate the Lime team. So now these Egyptian soldiers are stuck here, and the Lime team successfully retook all of this territory. While that was happening, though, another offensive down in the south took place, with the Egyptian armies starting to make their ways toward the Tigris River, I think. This one's either the Tigris or Euphrates River. I don't even think I'm saying either of those right, but whatever. They're also going to attempt to encircle this city again, but it is not going to go successfully. The Lime team is going to successfully cut them off down here and capture all those soldiers. They're also going to begin to make a counter invasion into what used to be the Magenta team. They're going to take a bit of what is modern day Lebanon and push down to begin to encircle the city. The Egyptian forces are going to evacuate the push for the Tigris River. They're also going to evacuate some lands. Not the city, though. I actually got rid of a little too much. Why is that a different color yellow? Whatever, I'll deal with it. Okay, so those forces that leave, they unoccupy this territory, are going to go up and successfully block the Lime team from encircling that city. And then they're going to begin to try to encircle their army with a small group of soldiers that were down here. The Lime team sees what's happening and quickly evacuates this region. The soldiers that were there walk back into their home territory and prevent the encirclement. And now it's really not looking that good for the Lime team. They've lost one major city and a bit of desert. Well, they really only occupy like one province. Yeah, they don't even fully occupy that. But things just got a little worse when the Red team decides they wanted to join the war. Nobody saw this coming. So But yeah, it's happening anyway. Red team, they hate the Lime team, so they see this as an opportunity to attempt to get back at them for beating them in a war in episode 2, I believe. Um, is either 2 or 3. I don't know what would have happened in episode 2 if it wasn't that war. Anyways, they're going to begin to occupy a lot of territory as their significantly smaller armies push in and start encircling major cities. All of this is going to distract the Lime team and allow for the Egyptians to retake all of this occupied land. So yeah, the Lime team, it's not looking good, as I've said. So to try and get some help, they're going to go to Egypt's other main rival, the Triangle team. They're going to go to the pink team, brown team, blue team, and Ethiopia, um, and tell them that they should, invade Egypt. And they are going to accept this offer because, well, their main goal, the entire point of this alliance is to protect against Egypt. They're not particularly friendly with the Lime team, but like they're neutral, and they have a common enemy. So, this is going to start with blue team troops pushing into these southern provinces to retake what used to be the blue team's land. Unfortunately, they lost it to the Egyptians a couple episodes ago. And since this area is really undefended, since the troops that were stationed here are up here, they're going to easily push up and take all the land surrounding the city and eventually take the city itself. Units that were up here are going to begin to occupy land up here. I'm also going to use a different shade of yellow just to mark that it's different, a different country. Although that solid blue line really does that anyway. Um, so more units here are also going to begin to retake, reoccupy a bit of land. Ignore that this area is hideous at the moment. I'll fix that. And, that'll be fixed by the time the peace treaty releases. So anyway, yeah, they're going to begin to push for the Tigris, either the Tigris or Euphrates River, as well as a small army pushing up to try and capture this city again. This is really annoying. Okay. The Lime team is going to fight against the Red team's forces up here. They're going to successfully rescue one of the cities, but at the same time, this other city by this river is going to fall. The army is, after occupying this city, the army is going to go straight for the next one, as well as strengthen, occupy a little more territory surrounding the city. So it's more difficult for the Lime team to retake it. At this point, where Pink team's troops, and Ethiopian troops both both push to capture Egyptian land in the south. They're going to make a great amount of gains, and they're going to reach the gate to this major city and encircle it. Egypt doesn't really care. They are going to continue pushing while the Lime team is distracted, and they're going to reach the Tigris River. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if this is actually the Euphrates River. I'm pretty sure it's Tigris. Um, this army is going to split up to try and reach different cities. That strategy is going to completely backfire as both armies are going to get destroyed by larger armies that they maybe could have beaten if they hadn't split up. So anyway, now the Lime team is going to start occupying land up here again. And this time they are actually going to successfully encircle this city. They're also going to take all the coast and successfully starve out the city into occupation. All right, an update over here on the blue team's troops. They keep pushing up the Egyptian coast, as well as taking back a bit of the Lime team's territory for some reason. The Lime team, not like the blue team especially isn't friendly with the Lime team since they invaded their country with the Egyptians. And they're also going to take back all of this land up here. Wait, let me turn down the tolerance. There we go. We're going to take back all of that territory. And then they're going to connect up all of this the Lime team's territory there. Team's army is going to successfully take out that part of the red team's army and will begin to push into the red team. They'll do so very easily. It's going to be at this point where the star team is also going to invade the red team because they're greedy and want more territory. We're going to push in from multiple sides since the red team is really mainly undefended. Turkish troops, there's not many since Turkey is focusing on conquering Europe. They're going to push in a little bit and push up to, there was a river there, but it's not there since I just threw this map together in a few minutes. Okay. While all their land is being stolen, the red team doesn't really care. They weren't expecting to win this war, so really all their goal is to mess up the Lime team as much as possible before they're forced into surrendering, so the Egyptians can win. They're going to encircle this city and begin to make their way towards the capital city of the Lime team. Once they realize what they're doing, they immediately leave the red team's territory, which is also like almost immediately after occupied by Turks. Light blue team is going to successfully encircle 2 cities and make their way towards the red team's capital. Wait, I think this one's their capital. Don't know why that's not. Okay, so yeah, all 3 cities are encircled. And then yeah, shortly after all 3 cities fall. So yeah, these 2 countries, Turkey and the light blue team, have successfully taken over the red team. I'm just gonna split up the land like this to show that, yep, they've lost. It's really messy at the moment. I'll fix it in the peace treaty. But the red team's army is going to remain in the Lime team. While all this is happening, Lime team is going to continue to occupy more coastal territory up here and begin to occupy lands in the Sinai Peninsula, as well as push up to that lake. Small army is going to branch off and push towards the Egyptian occupied territory, which they will then begin to reconquer. I'm going to turn the tolerance back on. They'll begin to reconquer all of that and push towards this major city. More forces are going to slowly begin to retake all of the red team's occupied territory, and a small battle will happen over here in this occupied city. Um, wait, never mind. A small battle is going to occur right outside the major city after Lime Team forces attempt to encircle the occupied lands. But this is going to be a failure for the Lime Team, and they're forced to retreat as Red Team forces push back up to this river. This city right here is going to fall, and the capital city of the Lime Team is going to be encircled. Right, these troops up here, they are going to retreat away from the river after the occupation of a lot of their home territory. They're going to attempt to defend this major city, but it will eventually fall back over to the Lime Team, as well as all of this occupied territory. Blue Team forces are going to retake a lot of the south here. Also, when I say Blue Team forces, there's Blue Team and Brown Team, since they don't really have anywhere else. And Ethiopia is Ethiopian plus Pink Team forces. Right, so they're going to successfully take that city and continue to push up the coastline of Egypt, where they will they'll attempt to encircle that city, and since really nobody's coming down to stop them. Also, the occupation of this area is heavily backed by rebel groups that hate the Egyptian government. So yeah, they'll easily take that city, and really they'll also take all of that. After the abandonment of all of this occupied land over here, the Lime Team is going to chase the Egyptians back into their territory and attempt to reach that major city. While at the same time, the Blue Team really by now would have taken all of this land. It is at this point where the Red Team will successfully take over the capital city of the Lime Team and a lot of surrounding territory. A large army is of the Lime Team is going to push over to this major city, but they're somehow gonna fail. They're gonna get encircled and killed. Yeah, so now the Red Team, they don't have a homeland anymore. Now they're really just they're just trying to take out the Lime Team within. And it's going to work, really. The Lime Team has lost two major cities, their capital city. This major city lost a good amount of resources and population. And now they're also pushing towards this major city now. Oh, another thing they can do now that they control the capital city, they can pretty much block off the Euphrates River to block off the water access to some of these cities down here. They don't have a major city along the Tigris River, so they can't do that, but still. Well, that is until they capture this city. Now they can do that. This city sits in between both rivers. So now they're kinda depriving these three cities of their water source. Not that one, I think. These two cities of their water sources. That will lead to easier occupation of all of this land. They're also the troops belonging to the Red Team are also going to steal crops and resources from all of their occupied cities. So really all the excess they burn. So even if they even if the Lime Team retakes their major city, it's basically just been deprived of all its resources already. So the Egyptians are going to retake a bit of their territory down here. due to the armies that fled from the occupied territory in the Lime team. Um, they're going to push back up to this major city, but they're not going to be able to take it. And it is at the same time where this major city is encircled by the Lime team and then occupied by the Blue team. Ethiopian and Pink team forces continue to push up the coast. So due to losing a lot of land down here, Egypt is going to go to this red country down here. They're going to propose that they declare war on Ethiopia to stop them from conquering more of their land. Um, so the Crimson country is going to prepare their military and declare war on Egypt. They're going to. Yeah, but you thought they were going to declare war on Ethiopia. Nope, they're not. They're going to push up here along this river, as well as begin to push up here, and they will push up and take all this area and begin to encircle this city. Lime team troops are going to flood in from everywhere, basically, and occupy a lot more territory. Catch up on what's going on over here. The good news is this major city has been taken back, if it'll let me. This major city and the surrounding lands have been taken back. But there has been no progress towards taking back the capital. And at the same time, forces have begun to make their ways down the rivers to conquer more cities. Lots of small towns near the rivers are taken, as well as their food and resources. Um, they're also going to begin to make their other armies are going to make their way up the Tigris River, since there's two major cities along that. So the Lime team is currently really they're in shambles right now. Like the people are starting to dislike their government due to what the red team is doing and them not really doing anything about it. It's going to be especially prominent in this region up here. The reason this region is especially not liking their government, if you look at the religion map, most of the Lime team consists of one religion. Up here, there are two religions that are different from the rest of the country. Well, and here, because of what was left of the red team. These people still follow the red team's religion. But really, I'm going to focus on this part that has the same religion as Turkey. Small groups are going to start appearing, speaking for independence. The main region being this major city right here and the surrounding lands. There's going to be some more people by this lake right here. A lot like that are near the border of Turkey. A lot of them are going to be more supportive. Everyone south of that river, and a small group right there. As these groups become larger and larger, people in other areas begin to start pushing for independence as well. And soon, everything west of this river is occupied by this rebel group. So the rebel group is going to officially um, declare their independence and begin pushing across the river and might make their way towards this major city right here that also follows their religion. Their goal is to capture um, uh, all of this territory. Because of this, some of the Lime Team troops decide to abort and that they need to go back to the homeland, especially up here since they're closer. They're going to abandon the city because they need to go back and defend their lands, which they're not doing very well. So Blue Team's units, they are going to reoccupy all of this land that the Lime Team abandoned, and they're going to make their way down the Sinai Peninsula. What did I just do? Okay, they're gonna take the southern tip of the peninsula and take all of this land surrounding that lake. This major city here is conquered, but quickly after, a small Egyptian army is going to cut off the city and quickly take it back before any real damage can be done. They're going to push the red team's armies. They're going to push the red team's armies back to their border and begin to occupy a bit of territory in the north by the river. At the same time, another army is going to um, attempt to retake Ethiopian occupied lands. But the rebel groups that are heavily fueling this invasion are going to allow the Ethiopians to successfully defeat this army and reoccupy even more territory. These rebels up here probably wouldn't be surprised for me to tell you that they are Turkish backed. Turkey is supplying them with actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, is supplying rebel groups really a thing in this? Probably not. So forget what I just said. But they have like Turkey like does want to see this state get independence. Because really as soon as they get their independence, their goal is to unite with the Turkish because they share a lot of cultural aspects, which is really the entire reason for their call for independence in the first place. People here share closer relations with the Turkish than with the Mesopotamians. Speaking of which, they're going to attempt to recapture even more territory, which will go well. But they're not gonna be able to reach this city um, at the current moment. Red team forces are going to successfully capture all of the river area around the city, which just basically means it's theirs now. It's nothing I was able to do. Another army that a small group of the army that evacuated Egypt went over here and cut off the red team from going up the Tigris River any further, and made contact with this lake here. Um, the red team, really holding the capital city is the biggest priority. So the red team's going to abandon this city after taking a lot of resources, take their resources and men back up to the capital city here to successfully defend it from the Lime team, which actually isn't going to be successful because the Lime team starts to starve out the soldiers after encircling the occupied territory. And then quickly after, the troops rush in and take the city. They also cut them off there. So now the red team is cut into two groups. Egypt is going to retake this territory, effectively cutting off these soldiers, who very quickly are either killed or captured. And this city right here, all this land up here also is cut off, but the troops attempt to go back through the Lime team, but then this land is also taken, so now they have to go back even further, um, which effectively, I mean, it weakens them quite a bit. So all this land is retaken, as well as a lot of what the Lime team occupied, as the Egyptian soldiers follow the blue team's forces. And down here, um, the Egyptian forces continue to push down this river, until the red team uh, agrees with the Egyptians to invade Ethiopia instead. So Egypt is going to leave all of this territory and begin to make their way towards the Ethiopians' occupied territory. Um, so not the yellow team, the pink team. The pink team's reaction to this is they continue to send soldiers to Ethiopia, but they take soldiers that are occupying up here, while the Ethiopians continue to occupy more land. Um, the pink team soldiers that were stationed there are going to push. The pink team soldiers that were helping them are going to go down and occupy land right here before the red team can really do anything. So okay, the pink team tells Ethiopia to keep pushing into Egypt, and they will handle the red team, which they very likely could do. The only issue would probably be supply, since uh, the Ethiopians need to get resources from Ethiopia. Pink team soldiers, while they can get resources from Ethiopia, a lot of their supplies come from the pink team, so they have to go back down, back into the Ethiopian occupied lands, back down to mainland Ethiopia, go to this port city, and then cross to the capital. Actually, the other way around, since the supplies is going to them, they're not going to the supplies. So a group of soldiers that were stationed in the capital in case of emergency, they make their way down the river here, and begin to occupy lands over here, and slowly make their way down the river and towards the Ethiopian capital city. Catch up here. Really, all the back and forth fighting up here is continuing, with Egypt retaking all of this territory, as well as all that. They retake all of the Lime team's occupied territory, and a lot of the Blue team's occupied territory. Not that city though. They don't manage to take that city or encircle it. They mostly encircle it, but they don't manage to take that before they have to retreat for supplies. They retreat to a small village near the Lime team's border, where they then get ambushed by a group of the Lime team, and who then occupies that region and captures that Egyptian army. So the red team is beginning to be they're almost gone now, with the northern half has been recaptured, but the southern half, They know they can't retake the capital at this point, so they are going to push south. They're going to follow the rivers and make their way back to this major city that really hasn't recovered yet. They take it with ease and then continue pushing down the river after restocking supplies. They eventually reach this coastal city right here that they encircle as the Lime team chases them away from the capital. They retake that major city and follow the red team down the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, um, recapture all the land around that lake. Um, eventually, as the red team is beginning to fully capture that city, the Lime team's armies are right behind them. So these forces are going to steal. The red team's armies are going to steal ships docked in the city and sail off. Um, they're going to. I'll catch back with those guys later. So yeah, now the red team has been kicked out of Mesopotamia after a very long conflict. You can see all the different front lines. So now the Lime team just has two enemies to focus on. One being this rebel group who eventually encircles and captures this city. Well, they didn't really have to encircle it. They walk in and people kind of accept them walking in because same religion, they kind of support the rebellion. So the rebel group eventually meets up with Egypt, so now the Lime team doesn't have sea access to the Mediterranean, even though it's not like they were doing much with that anyways. Um, so the army that was making their way to the Ethiopian occupied territory finally arrives and immediately win a small series of battles against Ethiopia and retake a bunch of occupied territory. Some of the forces then push into the red team and retake all of this occupied land from the pink team. Ethiopia manages to kick out the invaders up here, and at the same time, um, despite what their teammates said, are going to begin to push into the south of the country. Actually, wait. I need different color to mark that they're occupying a different country. So they're going to begin to occupy a lot of land here. It's really after all the fighting that took place down here and up here with the Egyptians, this country's army has effectively just been annihilated. So occupying all of this territory is going to be very easy. The army that was in the capital is no longer there since obviously they went to attack Ethiopia. So they just walk into the capital city and occupy all of that. And they kind of force the Crimson team to surrender. So now they're out of the war with um, a very unhappy population and unfriendly relations with both Egypt and Ethiopia. They're only two neighbors. After being able to take the Crimson team out of the war, the entire Ethiopian army is able to focus up north to the Egyptian army attacking up here and successfully defeat them in a small series of battles that involve pushing them back up to this river and eventually meeting the town they were stationed in and capturing them. Few escaped, while most of them agreed to imprisonment. The red team, not not the red team, the blue team's units up here. Actually, no, I lied. Brown team units that were helping the blue team, they're going to take off from this coastal city, and they will begin, and they will make the world's first successful naval invasion into this city. The ships will land into the undefended territory and begin immediately taking land. And just like in the south down here, taking this land wasn't really that hard because rebel groups from earlier fully supported this themselves getting occupied by these other countries. So yeah, they begin to take more land, which distracts the Egyptian army and allows the blue team to push up behind them and meet up with them. So now Egypt is not looking very good. Lime team forces are going. Nope, that's wrong color. There we go. Lime team forces are going to push in from up here and from this city and reach this lake, and they're also going to cut off the north from their supply lines. So this region begins to very quickly fall to the Lime team. Um, so yeah, they're going to occupy all that. They're not going to focus on retaking these lands yet, though, because they need to get Egypt out of the war. They need to take out Egypt. That is their main focus. Oh, look, Egypt's capital is in danger. Huh. I hope they don't lose their capital. Okay, so Ethiopians keep pushing up the coast, blah blah blah. They push up. They begin to also push up the border with the Crimson Country. To make sure Egypt can't like secretly supply the Crimson Country. To let them declare war again. They need to make sure they're just out for good. So they're going to attempt to push up to this river to cut off any possible supply lines, and they are going to successfully do that. Lime team forces are going to keep pushing up the coast. They're also going to occupy all this land. The blue team is going to take all of this land since it's mainly undefended desert. Also, they're going to cut off the lime team there. And the brown team is going to successfully encircle the capital city of Egypt. It is at this point where Egypt surrenders to the triangle team and the lime team. Because really it's better, they see it as better to make peace while they still have most of their major cities so they don't lose as much. So now I'm going to show you what this peace treaty looks like. So this is what the peace treaty is going to look like. The red team is going to get nothing since they lost both conflicts. The pink team is going to get a handful of provinces along the Egyptian coast here. Ethiopia is going to get all the provinces behind those, as well as this major city here, so they didn't get completely screwed. This group right here, they're finally independent. The blue team and brown team agreed that they would grant them independence. And the lime team took all of this territory right here. The red team, they're gone. And the purple little rebellion group, they are still there since they are part of a separate conflict that really doesn't have much to do with the Egyptian conflict. So that I will actually save for the next episode, because you see, after this war, the Lime Team spent a lot of money fighting this war. So did Egypt. Both of these countries are very broke right now. Like, the brown team, actually, okay, you know what? I'm gonna say the red team before the war um, had more money than either of these countries do right now. And the red team was not a very rich country. Now, okay, so yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave off this episode. Comment down what you think should happen next, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.